I am still confident that Arsenal do not get anywhere close to this title. Third will be where they finish. Um, as much as yes, they were good against us, I still don't buy the hype that the title challenges.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Shots on Target podcast. My name is Phil, joined by my man Jakey as always.
What's going on, everyone?
The Premier League is in full flow, guys, and there's a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Alright, guys, so a big weekend of Premier League football. The record broken for Premier League goals in a 20-team weekend. And there's a lot to talk about, and I believe, Jakey, you had something you wanted to touch on instantly.
Yeah, Chelsea. What the fuck is happening at the minute with that club?
That is a great question.
I mean, even just dating back to last week, because obviously we didn't touch on the games last week. That's 8 goals in 2 games for Chelsea that they've conceded, and they've not looked like a team at the moment. They look like just a group of individuals. They don't look like they want to play for each other like at all, and it's worrying times for Chelsea because the further the season goes on without any change, the lower they begin to slip down the table.
Yeah, I think for Chelsea fans it is looking bleak. I think in terms of Pochettino, he looks like he doesn't really have a clue what his best 11 is, what tactics he wants to employ, all the stuff that makes or breaks a team at the minute. Obviously, there's talk about him getting the chop, but then they could possibly not afford it because of financial fair play, and there's no one in the manager pool to replace him, which makes sense. Like the only manager that is in the manager pool that would be of Chelsea's quality would be Jose Mourinho. Do you bring him back to save Chelsea? I mean,
Do
who
we see
knows?
a third stint?
A third stint at Chelsea for Mourinho. It would not surprise me in the slightest.
I
It
think he's the
honestly
only
wouldn't
manager
surprise
that
me.
could probably get the best out of these players. Because, like, yeah, Pochettino obviously is. I don't for 1 second doubt that he's not a good manager. You've seen what he built at Spurs, and really what he built at Spurs because he was shit at PSG. But
Yeah,
I don't know if he can handle the egos and the personalities at Chelsea. Like Tottenham, you didn't really have other than maybe Dele Alli, who seemed to work well under Poch. But other than that, it was a team quite a tame personality club. It was there weren't too many big egos that were hard to keep in check.
mm.
Now you go to Chelsea, who have known to have many prima donnas and massive egos, and it's as a manager, it's either sink or swim.
For me, it seems to be that they're just. It seems to be more than just a football thing. It seems there's a lot of internal problems at Chelsea as well. Whether it be in the dressing room, the players don't maybe respect the manager or even like the manager. At the end of the day, you don't have to like the manager to play football under him, but there just seems to be no fight about Chelsea at the minute. They seem to be rolling over for teams, and don't get me wrong, Wolves absolutely deserve to win that game, but Chelsea should never be losing this game at Stamford Bridge. Fans booing off the players at the end of the game. It's just absolutely unacceptable for a team of Chelsea stature. It just should not happen.
Yeah, 100%. And I know I want to ask the question this because I have seen quite a lot of it on Twitter and on YouTube. I know Rory Jennings uploaded a video about it. Um, do you think maybe that Pochettino's allegiances to Tottenham a few years ago, he came out and said it was Chelsea would be a club that he'd never manage, and then obviously it came up and he jumped at the opportunity to take it. But
Mm.
do you think there's maybe still that kind of, I don't know how to put it, but like, do you think his relationship with Tottenham is maybe affecting him slightly?
No, I don't think so. I think that's more would be Chelsea fans clutching at straws. Like my mate's a massive Chelsea fan, and he just said just plain and simple, they're just shit. Simple as from top to bottom, from Todd Bowley right down to the players. It's just shit. The whole stature of Chelsea has changed in the past few years. From obviously the stuff with Abramovich having to leave the club and sell up and stuff like that. It's just to obviously spending £1 billion and getting nothing really out of it, to the 9-year contracts on kids taking huge risks that doesn't seem to be paying off in the slightest. It just seems to be just an absolute sinking ship at the minute. And if I was a betting man, I would suggest that Pochettino might last out the season, but they will be definitely bringing in a new manager by the start of next season, 100%. Because it's
Yeah.
clear he is not the man to take Chelsea forward. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if they start shifting out players as well, Chelsea, because they are really edging that fine line of financial fair play right now, big time. So
100%. I mean, you
it's
look at the likes of names that I think immediately you could put on that chopping block. Nicholas Jackson for one. Mikhail Mudryk would be another. I think Chelsea fans wouldn't mind seeing go. Um,
yeah,
I don't think the likes of a Gallagher will go because obviously they need an English core. I think their club captain at the minute. He's the longest serving player. But it's just looking bleak. I couldn't even name really 5 players this season that have looked above and beyond any of the teammates. It's just been mediocre for the entire season.
yeah,
As a Chelsea team, even under the likes of Tuchel and Conte, they were defensively sound. And now you look, I think they've conceded more goals this season than they have in the last 5.
oh yeah, they're shipping goals big time, and that comes down to a lack of effort and energy from the players. And that can stint from there's 50 different reasons why a player won't run for the club, but one of the biggest ones will be that they don't believe in the manager. And that seems to be the glaring point for me, is that it looks like the players have given up on the manager. And you've seen it before where a manager might be good and the players just don't believe in the tactics that he's trying to employ, and the players then won't put in a shift, which will then cost the manager his job, which is kind of unfortunate on the manager, because Pochettino may have some amazing tactics. He might just need those players to run a lot more or do the things he's saying, and they just might just be like, nope, I'm not doing it.
I
But
think Chelsea as well is also an example of players that were brought in not to suit a manager. I don't think Pochettino's had a say on any of these signings.
oh, 1,000,000%, that was these are all Todd Bowley signings. There's no doubt about it. But we'll move on anyway from Chelsea. One team I do want to touch on after this weekend is a team that everyone had. I know we spoke about this before, that everyone's had pegged as the whipping boys of the Premier League and wasn't going to do anything, but they just keep impressing me week after week after week. Even the games they've lost, they've looked impressive in, and that's Luton Town. I mean, they have been absolutely amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, they probably threw away 3 points on Saturday. It was a great comeback from Newcastle, but to go 4-2 up against Newcastle at St James's Park, I mean, for a team like Luton, that's ridiculous. And obviously, yeah, we can mince words and say they threw it away, 3 points, but I mean, Newcastle do have quality, so you can understand why they got back into the game. But just as a whole, you look at the league table as we stand in at the minute, they are currently out of the relegation zone. Obviously, thanks to Everton's 10-point deduction, but still, they're out of the relegation zone. And you just look at teams like, for example, Sheffield United. They do things exactly the opposite of what Luton are doing. Luton are fighting, grinding, running their arse off for every single inch of blades of that grass for anything they can get in this Premier League, and they're doing their utmost to stay in it. Sheffield United, on the other hand, are literally being turned over week after week. I mean, Aston Villa took them to the sword this weekend in 25 minutes. Like, Sheffield United are a team that, for me, are just instantly going back down. And for me, if I had to put my money on it, I actually think Luton might actually do it. If they keep it up, I honestly think Luton could actually stay in the Premier League, which would be unbelievable for their club.
I think the one similar, like a team that I can, over the years, I can kind of liken them to, while not the same quality, but that Leicester 2016 team, they've got the fight. They work as a unit. They work as, they are just a team. They know that they're not as good as the other teams around them as individual players, but they work for each other. And I think as a team like Luton, who were always going to be up against it. It was a shock for them to even come up this season.
Well, for me, you look at the best one I can give would be Brentford, to be honest, because when Brentford first came to the Premier League, no one expected them to do a damn thing.
Yeah.
And then they gritted their arse off for a season, maybe two, started bringing in some signings here and there, getting there, and now look at them. They're a force in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It can go the same way with Luton. It only takes you can stay if you stay in the Premier League in the first season, you have a more statistical better chance of staying up for a few seasons than obviously if you get relegated instantly. But Luton they seem to have a philosophy of how they want to play, and don't get me wrong, having a very small stadium and a small pitch does help, but like I said, I expected them when they went to the big stadiums with the big pitches, like St James's Park, for example, where they couldn't stay compact and be hard to break down, that they would flounder, but they haven't.
Yeah,
they haven't. They're just giving teams a run for their money and giving. For me, it is an interesting one because it's like, are teams showing up to Luton and thinking, "Oh, this is going to be easy," and not giving 100%, or is it a case of Luton are actually that good and deserve to be where they are right now? Don't get me wrong,
I think it's a bit of both.
You have to beat what's in front of you at the end of the day, but it's an interesting one because you look at the players they have, like for example Ross Barkley, a guy who, when he signed for Luton, they were like bloody hell, like and stuff like that, and they've obviously got Andros Townsend, a lot of rejects. Do you know what I mean? But together it works. Like,
yeah.
And you have to praise the manager. Sorry, I cut you off, but you have to praise the manager for the philosophy at Luton. Like, he probably knew it was going to be a damn hard task this year, and he's just got everyone fighting for the badge, and that's just a manager's philosophy, and you can see it stems down to the whole team.
Yeah, 100%. And I've got a question to ask you because I've just seen it there on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
If Luton stay up, does Rob Edwards deserve Manager of the Year? Do you think he should be in contention for it, knowing how hard of a job he's had?
Contention, definitely, yes. 1,000,000% should be in contention. Would he win Manager of the Year? I very much doubt it. Whoever wins the Premier League usually takes Manager of the Year.
Yeah.
It's just... It's what
I definitely think he'll be up there as, a candidate, if not potentially winning. If Luton do stay up and they stay up comfortably, I don't see a world in why he shouldn't be Manager of the Year.
Yeah, unfortunately...
That task was a big one to take on.
Oh, definitely. Unfortunately, though, it's just like, I've said the same thing for years about, like, the Ballon d'Or, for example. All these big awards, they go on stats. And for me, sometimes that's just wrong. Like, that's why a defender, like, very rarely wins the Ballon d'Or. That's why a keeper will never win the fucking Ballon d'Or, because it goes on stats. And it just seems a bit sad for me. Yeah, I get it, like, Lionel Messi, Ronaldo's, etc., score the most goals, do the most amazing things, but football isn't just all about scoring goals. Like, there have been some top defenders and some top goalkeepers over the years that could have easily won the Ballon d'Or, for me personally, because for me it should be about the impact of it rather than just the stats. Like you say, if Rob Edwards keeps Luton up, that's a huge impactful thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Did Claudio Ranieri win Manager of the Year when Leicester won the Prem? I believe he did, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah. But again, that goes on stats winning the Premier League. He didn't get it the year before, keeping Leicester in the Premier League first. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
true.
So it's unfortunate when things do go that way. But we'll move on to the biggest talking point of this weekend, the game that everyone was talking about beforehand. What way would it go? The Arsenal-Liverpool game. And I will let the Liverpool fan take it away.
Yeah, an awful game from us. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We went into this game probably with the wrong setup. Maybe, not the wrong setup, but I think the wrong personnel. And we suffered from it. We were in the midfield. We were dominated for 45 minutes until that goal. We did get back into the game in the second half, but even then, with the goal, it was a gift to us. It was a Gabriel own goal. And even
Yeah.
after that little period of dominance we had, I say we controlled the second half for maybe 25 minutes, but we never looked like scoring. And credit to Arsenal, they played very well, but I also do think we made them look good. We gifted them two of their goals. If that the coming together, we're not coming together, but that between Van Dijk and Alisson doesn't happen. The game stays 1-1, and we're not immediately back on the back foot.
Yeah, that's a calamity, that.
And it's very rare that you see one of them have an off day. Never mind both of them have an off day. And yeah, it was just one of them games where Nunes doesn't start, and I think we miss him from minute one. He just offers a lot more than Gakpo. People can make jokes that he misses chances, he's wasteful, he's this and that, but he is very important to the way we play, and he just offers a lot more. He doesn't stop running. He wants to get on the end of them passes. He makes the runs, and he was a big miss. And just the wrong balance in midfield for me. Gravenberch looked lost in that game. I thought Jones played very well, but it's hard when you're getting overrun by Rice Odegaard, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but Jorginho.
Good, yeah, he actually had a brilliant game.
Yeah, he did.
Had a brilliant
And I remember messaging you before the game. Jorginho's a risk.
Yep. Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of overreactionary things on Twitter. Are Liverpool out of the title race already? As it stands, we're still top.
Yeah, that's a stupid comment.
As much as City do have the game in hand, they probably do win this game in hand and do leapfrog us by a point. We are by no means out of this title race at all.
No.
I am still confident that Arsenal do not get anywhere close to this title. Third will be where they finish. As much as, yes, they were good against us, I still don't buy the hype that the title challenges. You can call me salty, you can call me whatever. I don't see the quality in a consistent run-in for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And it will come down to the end of the season. It will still be between us and City. Arsenal will not be in this title race, I can say that now.
I still think you missed Conor Bradley on Sunday. Like I said to you, don't get me wrong, I love Trent. I think he's one of the best footballers in the world for what he does, in terms of delivery, set pieces, etc. His passing range, but I had a feeling before the game. I even messaged you saying it was a risk playing Trent there, because yes, he goes forward, but those gaps were left there, and Arsenal did expose them. That was their outball the whole game. So even when you tried to press, the outball was literally to Martinelli just chilling, because Martinelli cheats. He does not track back at all. So
No.
Martinelli cheats. So that is their outball every time. And I just think with Conor Bradley, yes, he's young, but he's enthusiastic, and he's
he clapped Martinelli in the cup game when we brought him on. He played 15 minutes and Martinelli was quiet for them 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, Jamie Carragher said it perfectly. He looks like a right-sided Andy Robertson, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think, obviously, such sad news about his dad passing away. So obviously that was the reason he wasn't at the game. But I think it just changed the way you played. Not that it would have mattered in the slightest, because like I said, you had 6 or 7 players that had off days, so it was going to be tough either way.
I think we played with a 60% Trent. Van Dijk was off it. Alisson very uncharacteristically off it. I know we've always said he's got one of them a season, which is it just has to be. Unfortunately, it's the game against Arsenal where they have the quality to punish them mistakes. I do think when we took Trent off, we looked worse for it though. As much as that ball was always on, I think he was our only creative threat other than McAllister.
Well, the problem is you're taking him off and you're bringing Joe Gomez over there, who's just as bad. So,
well, to be fair, I don't think Joe Gomez had a bad game on the left. I thought he kept Saka quiet up until the goal, which was just a fluky rebound.
Saka's always quiet though. I have you mentioning that. I just don't believe the hype in Saka. I've had so many people say to me, I've gone to watch him live and it's the stuff you don't see on telly. This guy is world class. But I just don't see it. Do I have to go and watch him live to see this hype? Apparently, because I don't get it. Yeah, he does score a lot of goals and he's good, but he only ever wants to do the same thing. He doesn't want to take a man on like one-on-one properly. He only ever wants to cut in. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he wants to just pass the ball. I mean, from the wingers I've seen over the years that I believe are or have been and are world class, I just don't see it. The returns might be there in terms of goals, but they just seem to be a lot of tap-ins and stuff like that. And I know Arsenal fans are going to be very pissed off with that statement because of Saka is probably their golden boy. And don't get me wrong, he might even be a big influence for England in the summer, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
I don't see it either, personally. I from watching the game, he was very quiet. Gomez kept him very quiet until we switched sides and brought Robertson on. And then even when we brought Robertson on, he was very quiet.
Yeah.
If he doesn't score that goal, it's a 4 out of 10 performance for Saka. And I've always said, for the people who say, it's what he does that you don't see. He's an attacker. You should want to see it.
I should be seeing a lot more. Yeah, exactly.
It's like when we used to protect Firmino because, he might not have had always the best output, but you could see what he brought to the team. Whether it not be goals or assists, it was visible what Firmino did for us. It's not visible what Saka does for Arsenal.
Yeah, no.
I don't see the link up. I don't see him taking on players. He's a very predictable winger.
Yeah. So, the biggest question coming out of the game on Sunday came from Jamie Carragher after the game. Did Arsenal over-celebrate that victory?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think you should be able to celebrate in any manner you want, right? You've won a game.
A big game as well, don't forget that.
A big game,
huge.
yes.
If they lose that, they're out
game.
of the title race. So, yeah, that's huge.
But players taking photographs of the cameramen, like Arteta imitating Klopp when he punches the air towards the fans. It's match week 23. I'd understand that if you had gone top of the league and, yes, big result no matter what. I'm not taking anything away from that. They are still third.
Yeah.
You see them sort of celebrations from teams that stay up or teams that have won something.
Yeah.
And this was match week 23. And I've always said, and people can call me biased, I've seen a lot of people say it about their clubs, we are People's Cup final. We've seen it with Spurs when they beat us, and we've seen it with Arsenal when they beat us, and that was match week 7 and match week 23, and they celebrated like it was a cup win.
Okay, so my question is to you then, because so Wolves obviously beat Chelsea right away. They celebrated pretty much in the same manner as Arsenal. They ran around the pitch. They was punching hands to their fans. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So what's the difference between Arsenal doing it and Wolves doing it? Because it's still match week 23.
I don't agree with Wolves doing it.
So you don't agree with Wolves doing it either?
No, because yes, Wolves, like I say, celebrate in any manner any manner you want, but do remember where you are in the season and where you are in the league. I would understand it if it was Luton and they were climbing out of the relegation zone, because anything to their fans is success. Wolves have been an established mid-table Premier League team for about 6 years now.
Yeah.
So they're not at risk of going down, and currently they're not winning anything. So I don't get, yes, beating Chelsea is a massive thing, but for one, it's not a rivalry. Wolves and Chelsea aren't rivals. It's not a derby game.
Right.
And you are both mid-table.
Okay. So...
Yes, it's a massive win, but you're still mid-table.
Okay, let me tell you how I see this whole thing. The first thing is, I believe, like you should be able to celebrate any way you want. I believe you should. I don't think it matters what result it is or who you play. You have to enjoy these results when they come. Should you sometimes not go overboard? Yeah, but it depends what you do. But in terms of Arsenal, I think it was a huge result for them. I think they had every right to celebrate it. I think Odegaard just let his happiness get a bit ahead of himself, taking pictures of the cameraman. I mean, the cameraman might have never had his photo taken with the fans. You know what I mean? Big day for him. So, fair enough. But I do also believe that Jamie Carragher was a salty little bastard about it. No doubt about it. And in terms of the Wolves thing, this is a team that everyone expected to really struggle. So the fact that they've just gone to Stamford Bridge and won 4-2, I do not blame them doing whatever. They can take their bloody shorts off and run around the stadium if they want, and it wouldn't bother them in the slightest. Like, for example, if Luton showed up and beat Newcastle 4-0 at St James's Park, if they went crazy, I'd expect it. I would honestly 100% expect it. It all depends on the occasion. Don't get me wrong. If Arsenal would have beaten, say, Forest 3-1 on Sunday and they did that, fair enough. Roast them. Absolutely fucking roast them. But this is not their cup final as such as you put it, but like this was huge for Arsenal. If we said it, if they lost, they were out of the title race for pretty much everyone. Maybe some Arsenal fans would have still believed it, but 95% of people would have had them out of the title race. So it's a huge result for them. Emotions are running high. I can see why. And I just think Carragher was a little salty bastard, to be honest. But
like I said, like celebrate in any manner you want. I don't begrudge anyone, happiness or anything like that. If your team's won, you're going to celebrate in whatever manner you see fit. Do I think Arsenal celebrations were a tad over the top? Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. That's your opinion, and everyone is entitled to it. That is the beauty of this sport. Everyone will have their opinion on every little thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a very opinionated sport.
But like we say, guys, if you do have your own opinions on these subjects, let us know in the comments below. And also let us know what you want to see on this channel. We do listen, guys. So if you think we're concentrating on a team rather than your team, let us know and we'll cover them. Let us know in the comments below. You guys are the biggest control of this channel. And that's going to do it, guys, for our rundown of this week's football. And that's going to do it, guys, for this week's episode of the Shots on Target podcast. Remember, if you guys did enjoy it, to drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. And we'll see you next week, guys.
Catch you later.